All right, the recording has started, and this is the March 25th, 2021 Crossplane community meeting. So yes, as everyone that's here is well aware of, this is our first meeting in the new Thursday slot here. So thanks for flexibility and being able to join at this new time here. This will be the consistent time going forward. So every 2 weeks, from here, we'll be meeting at the same time, same place. And we've updated the doc to reflect that as well too. Someone pointed that out to me this morning that still said Monday. So the calendar appointment has been updated for a little bit since we made the change. So I believe that all references to it should be pointing at Thursday now. Right. So the in terms of planning and milestones and releases and all that sort of stuff, what we want to focus on today here is the next upcoming release, which is 1.2. It's about a month away in terms of our 8-week cadence or cycle. So we still have plenty of time or a number of weeks for feature development and more things getting into the release there. But a bit of a change that we want to make here today in the community meeting is that normally we kind of focus on status and things that are ongoing for the project here, but now we want to be able to have a bit more of a planning focus than we've had before. So this, I think, is going to be a good forum for a community effort, planning effort together, right? Where instead of just kind of walking the board of things that are going on, we can kind of talk about priorities and resources and contributors that want to pick things up, all that sort of stuff there. So that's kind of going to be the focus today is what are the priorities for 1.2 and what's in demand from the community, right? Because this is a community driven project. We are getting more and more contributors that are joining and providing commits and feature implementations and things like that. So we want to have a more open, transparent kind of interaction and discussion around kind of what's going into each release. So we'll be doing that in each one of these community meetings. We'll kind of have a bit of a community planning aspect to it as well too, where folks basically get a chance to weigh in or express what their needs are for the project. I think there's going to be some more work here, I think, on kind of getting the tracking and the process and the procedures for identifying issues and things that like getting accepted into the plan here. But this is kind of a first step towards having a transparent, open discussion amongst the community for priorities and what we want to have happen. I think currently right now the process that we have in place for proposing new features is at the least opening an issue for it, and if it's a complicated feature, doing a design doc and such. I think that we're going to get a little bit more clear about like what the process for that would be and how to get things raised and how to weigh in on like priorities for things. But so let's start today with this being a forum for those kind of discussions. So I'll bring up the roadmap here, or sorry, the project board that's kind of serving as a bit of a roadmap for what we're wanting to do. I did take a pass, and Nick took a pass, I think, last night too, to make sure that this is kind of up to date and in focus here. So I think one big thing that we want to kind of have a bit of awareness on is that these milestones here, these are things that we want to accomplish, right? They're not necessarily going to be things that we can completely commit to as a community. I think it's going to be, hey, these are the priorities, these are the things we want to get in. But at some level, it's going to be a bit of a best effort of, do we have the contributors to dig in and, add these new features? Are there enough engineers to deliver on this stuff? So it's going to be more of a, like, these are the things that we think as a community are the important things to work on, and not necessarily 1.2, everything on this board will be definitely included. It will hold the release until it's all done. It's more of a, these are the important priorities. Nick or Grant, do you have anything you want to add to that?
One thing is that As Jared mentioned, we're still figuring this process out. I have an action item to send or open a pull request with a document that has a straw man proposal for how we'll manage this board going forward. And yeah, I pretty much second what Jaren says. You can think of the board partly as like giving people a guesstimate of what might be in the next release. You could also think of it as a tool for the people managing the release sort of thing, so that they know who's hoping to get things into 1.2. And, you know, if myself or Dan or Muvarf are running a release, we can go and, you know, chase Harsh and be like, hey, you know, do you think you're going to get this pull request done by this day or whatever? So definitely not a commitment, but we're hoping to be an indication of what's likely to be in a release or possible.
Yeah, and I think something there too that you know, in the proposal that Nick wants to open up there is around what is the scope of this board. You know, currently we've been, for a long history in the Crossplane project, we've been in a habit of releasing all the providers at the same time that we release a new core Crossplane update. That isn't necessarily required at all. You know, providers can release independently. And so it's definitely a bit of an open question of what is the scope of work that's tracked on this board? Is it all the providers as well too? Or, you know, do some providers break out into their own, you know, boards and planning and stuff like that? Or, you know, how can we keep it all together? So there's a bit to figure out right there too. Right now in this 1.2 board that we have right here, we do have a bit of a view on everything that's going on across all the providers and, you know, the general effort across the entire community right now. But we'll need to be thinking about that as we continue to move on. So there's a number of things that are already completed in the milestone, and you know, things that are merged and would be included in the next release, and then all the stuff that is ongoing and active in terms of pull requests are open and included in the PR open column here. There's a number of new additions, like new resources that are being added. I think Steve is adding a couple of those on here. There's some you know, composition improvements work, like being able to aggregate a number of different sources for a patch in a composition that's being you know, that's being worked on and has a pull request open as well right now too. So all of these columns here, I think, should be fairly open in terms of what is currently coded and in review and in discussion right now. And then the rest of the stuff here is you know, things that had been identified as like I work items that people will be spending time on, or you know, kind of trying to include in the release as well too. This is the biggest thing I think here, and this is where, you know, the most input from the community I think becomes very important, is around this proposed column here. So there's a number of big ticket items from, you know, a roadmap perspective of, you know, like observe only resources and cross-resource references as well too, that are, you know, pretty impactful, but also pretty big as well too. So, you know, getting contributors signed up for those, or, you know, getting champions for those efforts there, you know, I think it's really important here to hear from folks on what is most important to you. Are the items in this list here things that people are you know, waiting for or hoping to take a dependency on? Are there other items that aren't in this list that we think there's a lot of demand for? So I kind of open the floor to anybody who wants to weigh in with, you know, features that are important to you or things that people want to see from the community.
We could also, if something occurs to folks, you know, an hour from now or something like that, you can also shoot us a message on Slack, myself, NGZ, or any of the Crossplane team. Well, I think ideally we would let the community just drop stuff in this proposed column, and then, you know, we'd groom it later sort of thing. But I don't think there is a way to do that with GitHub permissions. So at the moment, if you want something in the proposed column, I think you have to find a Crossplane maintainer basically and ask them to put it in there.
I can tell you two that I really like. Right. Go ahead.
Is that Steve? Was that Jan? Who both talking?
Steve.
I guess both. Go ahead, Steve.
Two that I would really like, if it's possible. One is support for non-AWS commercial regions. So right now, China and Gov clouds, not all of the providers will work there, but I think there's a fix, and it would be great to get it into this release if that's possible.
Steve, is that something that you'd be interested in working on? I think one thing that we're trying to do with this proposed board is make sure that there is well, ideally we'd have a person attached to it, or a person saying, I propose to work on this release, rather than saying, I'm asking for someone else to work on this release.
There's a proposed fix, but Mufavak has kind of set me in a better direction to fix. So I would love to submit the fix and get it into 1.2 if it's possible.
Nice.
Awesome.
If you can chat me or DM me the issue for that, I'll put it on the board.
Yeah, that sounds totally reasonable too, Steve. I think that's a good addition too, especially if it's something that you need for your use cases as well too. I'd see that being applicable to helping other people as well too. Yeah, we can add that to the board. I don't see any issue with that. And thanks for championing some of these issues yourself as well too, Steve. Getting fixes in and contributing some of those things that you need. That's awesome.
The other one that we'd like soon is the AWS SDK Go v2 upgrade, only because there's some new functionality that's only exposed in newer version of that SDK. So for example, we wanted to use functionality for EKS, but that's only available in the newer Go version.
Yeah, I see that you opened the PR for that, right?
Yes, it's just huge. That's the only thing.
Okay. I just added it to accept column. The issue is this one, I believe. Just a second. I'm not able to assign the issue to you for some reason.
I can. At least I just assigned a different one to Steve. So if you want to ping it to me and move up, I can take care of that.
Is it this one here, the 383?
Yeah, that should be the one.
But Steve, what's your GitHub name? Is it S Caballo or
SMCAVALLO?
Yeah, I don't seem to be able to assign either. Nick, do you does that work for you, buddy? I'll just drop that in the Zoom chat. Okay, so that is on the board here. Actually, I think it's a good pattern to include the issues on the board here instead of the PRs itself. I have a preference for that, Muafik. I know you just added the pull request there, but yeah, I think having the issue there that kind of captures the original intents and stuff is
yeah. One thing I wanted to discuss is that we can have the issue assigned to someone to work on them. But reviewing the PR is also another thing. So do we want to see that on the board as well? For example, there are some PRs here with my head on it, as an assignee, and they're waiting for my review. So should we follow this pattern or just not see PRs at all?
Yeah, you know, the way I look at it, and people can disagree as they want to, but the way I look at it is that, you know, I want to view this board as like, what are the problems we're solving? And, you know, what are the features that are being added in the upcoming release, or, you know, what are the priorities for things that we want to enhance the project with? And I see it less as like a work tracking sort of thing of like, hey, this PR is assigned to this person and should be on the board so that, you know, like accountability, or so it's not like I don't view it as a task list as much as I do like a, you know, feature priority roadmapy sort of list.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense to not include the PR stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just say again, this I'm not trying to squash this conversation as well, but if we do get you know, feeling like we're running out of time, we'll definitely have plenty of time to discuss this on the proposal that I'm going to open up hopefully later today. It's very much a straw man at the moment, so there's a lot of great stuff that's coming up now that's missing from it. I would propose that maybe the one time that PRs on the board might be okay is if you're like doing a fix that doesn't have an issue that's, you know, pretty, you know, maybe impactful but small, and you're just like, I don't really want to have to write an issue to put on the board, but I want people to know that this was in the release, then you can just like, you know, throw that one on there.
Yeah, I'd say it's a preference I have for issues on the board instead of PRs, and that sounds all perfectly fine. But yeah, we could discuss that more in your proposal, Nick. That's a great idea. Cool, Steve. Steve, was that the top things on your mind, like the AWS SDK v2, and then you know, more region support in AWS?
Yep, everything else is on the board.
Cool. Yeah, all your other work, yeah, is on the board that you're doing too. Sweet, man. Awesome. Jan, you had some things to talk about as well too.
Yeah, right. So we definitely would love to have the SDK v2 update in there as well. So thanks for working on that, Steve. And the other thing would be document DB support. I know Muwafaq has been heavy at work for reviewing pull requests, but we would really love to see that into getting into the next version. I don't think it's yet on the list, but it's the 588, which is open. And
is that in provider VBS, provider AWS?
Yeah, exactly. I suppose we are the 1.2 includes the provider specific stuff from core Crossplane, right?
Yeah, it does. It does right now on this board. Yes, Jan.
Okay. Yep, that would be the one.
Oh, Kelly opened this one. Nice. Well, has work started on this one already? Oh, it looks like, oh yeah, there's a PR associated with it. Okay, awesome.
It's quite a large PR.
So
if you want us to split that, just drop us a note.
Oh, that's awesome. And Waf, have you already taken a look at this one, or it's this?
No, I don't think I have.
Yet.
Not yet.
Cool, but that is so that sounds like that's Jan, that support for the document DB service is a priority for you, and is something that you're hoping to get incorporated in to the support that provider AWS has.
Yeah, that would be nice if we could get it in.
Awesome. Good. That's great to like. This is exactly what I was hoping for. Of, you know, the issues and additions and things that, you know, people are you know, depending on. This is a great forum to hear that from people. So I'm really glad to hear some of this you know, requested feedback and priorities from people. This is really useful.
We also have Glue coming up, and I think Muwafaq expressed that we should split it into different pull requests for different resources. So that will come up soon as well, but I'm not sure if we are aiming for 1 or 2 as well. I believe that will be 3 weeks from now until code freeze, or sorry, I don't have the dates in my mind. But anyway, we didn't have the pull request up yet, so that will be I guess something for our next community meeting probably.
Yeah, I mean, if the PR is like, adding, I don't know, like 5 or 7 resources or something like that, we can have a new release for it, like, because we're not tied to core Crossplane, so we can just do another one right away.
All right, perfect.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great, Jan. Hey, anybody else have some priorities or features that are important to them?
I think it would be nice if GitHub provide the option to upvote the features. Like people could, like it would help a lot, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that, Harsh, just because that's something that was kind of on our minds the other day too. Of like some projects approach that in like like thumbs up on the issues themselves. You can kind of use that as a voting mechanism. There's other integrations that may work better too. So that's something to kind of think about as well too. Because I mean, I recognize too that not everyone's going to be able to join this synchronous meeting every 2 weeks, right? So being able to take input and understand, because at the end of the day, the goal here is really understanding what the community needs, and then matching community resources to those needs to build them as well too. Because if somebody wants something but that we don't have, there's no engineer that steps up to be able to take it. In this kind of volunteer project that it can't be delivered, so we have to match resources to needs as well too.
Yeah, I kind of want something like the Prow bot that Kubernetes has, not the whole functionality, but just if you could have like a slash release 1.2 or something command that you could run on an issue to be like, hey, I'd like to label this with I'm volunteering to work on it for 1.2 and assign it to myself or something like that.
Yeah. All right. So that was a good discussion about 1.2 and some of the priorities there. Definitely really appreciate that. That's all that I had on the list there for 1.2 itself. So if there's not more for 1.2, we can kind of continue through the remaining community topics. So quick note, yesterday, Nick was able to, was a guest on the CNCF live stream for this week in Cloud Native. And it was Mario Loria, I think was the host, and Victor Farkik was the other guest on there, and they were talking about Crossplane. It was actually really, really, really good. Nick, do you have any thoughts you want to share on that, or any takeaways from that?
Not really. It was it was fun.
Cool. Yeah, it seems like it's a multi-platform sort of thing. So like I was watching it on Twitch because that's what the link was to, and then it's also available on YouTube, and it's already got working with 900 views now, which is pretty awesome in the last 24 hours, I think. So it's a number of different ways to watch it. If you missed it yesterday, the live stream, that's you can watch it on demand too. And here's the link in the community agenda doc here, if you want to catch up with it. Cool, but great job on that, Nick. I think Nick did a great job of representing the community in the project. So good job, Nick. So for the CNCF proposal to move from the sandbox to incubation, that is a bit of a long time coming, but the proposal is officially open upstream now. So in the CNCF TOC repo, pull request 620 is open, that has all the details about the growth of the project, some of its maturity, its accomplishments, and then some testimonials from production users as well too. Some of them that are on this call as well too. So thank you very much for the support that you're able to give to the project here, and that makes our case stronger to the technical oversight committee. And I'm very appreciative of the effort from everybody there on that. So if you want to read the proposal, it's there on the TOC repo for the CNCF on pull request 620. Looks like it's getting a lot of support so far as well now too, which is awesome to see. And then the process for us here is that it seems like the process for this for the CNCF advancement is going through a little bit of churn right now, perhaps. normally you present to a special interest group, and then you have to do a due diligence dive with the SIG, and then you have to have a technical oversight committee sponsor and all this sort of things. It seems like they're making a change to get TOC sponsors up front instead of later in the process, so that they can kind of guide you through it and champion the effort there. We were going to reach out to sponsors, but it looks like the CNCF and Chris Sanachek have already given us some sponsors, which is really appreciated, to have 2 sponsors already assigned to it and start working here. So I'm hoping we can make some quick headway here and not get stuck too much in process, and with the TOC sponsors kind of keep advancing through here. I think we have a very strong case. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to progress quickly. Cool. All right, and then through the Linux Foundation's mentorship program, Rahul's in his 4th week, I think now. Rahul, do you want to give us a quick status update on the stuff that you've been working on and some of your progress for the mentorship program?
Hi, yeah, sure. So yeah, actually I was working on the private update testing, and I'm almost like, first of all, we wrote a GitHub action to that, but since we want to write a code test, so that's almost done. Dan and Muhaf have been quite helpful to getting that done, first of all. So most probably it should be completed by in a day or 2 more, I guess. You can see that the code is merged. Dan merged the code even like even 2 hours before, I guess. So yeah, it's good.
Awesome. Yeah, that'd be great to have that, the first provider in there, so we can kind of do the upgrade test there, and then we can extend that to, be running all the providers, and then have that on a recurring basis, so that we're sure with changes that are going into the providers, into their main branches, that that doesn't break any upgrade from previous releases. So we kind of stay on top of that as the development efforts on the providers is ongoing.
Right.
Cool. And it's a 12-week mentorship program, so we're about a third of the way through, basically, with the program here with Rahul. Cool. So great. Yeah, thanks for continuing those efforts, Rahul. Appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. And then, so the Crossplane Community Day, the selection committee went through all of the proposals and made the selections. There's definitely some tough calls there. I was not on the selection committee, but so I won't speak to it directly. But that's what I heard, that there were some really fantastic proposals there, and only a limited, set of time for being able to give presentations. So, great effort from the entire community on a lot of submissions. I was really happy to see that. But the schedule has been announced now. So if folks haven't seen it, you can see it at the link here in the agenda doc. And this is the full schedule for the day here. So all the talks and their abstracts and speakers and everything are available to be seen right here on the, the KubeCon website, essentially. So that's coming along well, and really excited to see that lineup get kind of finalized, and see another awesome community day of good talks, and learning more about the project and everything like that. Cool. Okay, so that was everything that I had that we had on the agenda doc there. But it looks like we don't have any specific PRs here mentioned before the optional time section. So I will open the floor for a second here to anybody who has agenda items or things to discuss that did not make it into the agenda doc itself.
So we were a bit heavy at work for provider GitLab, and I think we're about to ready for our first release. And I think there needs to be some stuff hooked up for provider GitLab to push the artifacts to Docker Hub, for example, and basically do the first release. So I guess Dan expressed his interest on helping us there. But I thought I'd share it here.
I also have access and context to do that pretty quickly, Jan. So if you remind, I'm pretty busy, but Dan's on vacation this week and I'm not. So if you ping me on Slack and pester me, I'll definitely be able to do it.
Yeah, no worries. So it's not super urgent. I was just bringing it up here. Might be that I missed something, that there's like a more formal thing than just pinging you, but good to know.
Yeah, I think it's usually, if you've got all the GitHub actions copied from the temp, we either have to just copy the GitHub actions in there if they're not already, and then usually it's just setting some secrets on the repository, I think. So it should be pretty straightforward.
All right. I'll take a look at the GitHub CI, and then I'll ping you or Dan next week. Sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of activity there, Jan. That was really cool to see some of the activity and contributions going into that provider as well too. That's something I was making a case for in the CNCF proposal, is that there's this ecosystem of community providers and non-cloud providers springing up around Crossplane as well too, and it's so cool to see the use cases continuing to expand. So I'm really excited for the first release on there, and great work on all the features that are going into provider GitHub. Cool. All right, then if that is all of the community section topics, then we can proceed on to the optional time session. And so this is a reminder for everybody that this is completely optional. This is kind of a section where we dive into some of the weeds here a bit, and get into some of the deeper technical aspects. So the agenda for the general session of the community meeting is going to wrap up now, and folks are welcome to leave. But if you want to stick around for some of the conversation here, then everybody is welcome. So Harsh, is this something you added?
Yep.
Awesome. All right, go ahead and kick us off here.
Yeah, so we have started to add like a secret manager for AWS. We have already merged that, and I have a PR for secret manager in GCP. So currently with AWS, we have a secret reference which user can give for the Kubernetes secret, and we sync it with the AWS secret manager. And I think this CSI driver can actually avoid storing it into as a Kubernetes secret itself altogether. And I think this was a use case mentioned in the issue too. So has this been explored before or looked at?
I don't have a ton of context on this. I have seen you talk about it once or twice before, Harsh, but I'm loading it up now.
Yeah. So okay. So the reason I thought this might be more useful is because in the PR I'm running into this kind of an issue, more of a question. So if the user has provided the Kubernetes secret reference at the beginning, then it's fine. We create it and store it. But in case of updating it, a user could run into a bug. I've described this in the Slack channel too. So if a user has provided one reference and he later points it to another reference, then the reconciliation part is hard, because the late initialize method and up-to-date method has to kind of create a secret, Kubernetes secret, and populate the data if it's not already present. So that kind of, I'm not sure if it's the best way, because we already have secret connection to a ref field there, and this kind of overlaps with that functionality.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Well, it sounded like there was two things here. One that like we're potentially introducing a new secret reference that duplicates the existing write connection secret to reference, and the other thing was just what happens if you change the secret reference. So for the changing the secret reference, I think one thing we can do is just at least we have a tag that we use on Go fields where we can tag them as immutable. Nothing actually honors that. It's more of documentation at this point, but we could just say it's immutable. You can't change it. That simplifies that problem. You have to delete your secret thing and recreate it if you want to make a new secret. As to duplicating the right connection secret to ref, I think I would have to go and dig in a little bit more out of band, but I can try and do that today to have a look at this. I'm not familiar with Secrets Manager at all as a Google API, so I'm just going and reading about that now.
Sure. And as for the immutable thing, like I tried, like I found the GitHub issue and I've linked it there. But the thing is, like even the docs, like kubectl, if you even kubectl explain, it doesn't mention about it being immutable at all. So there's no way to prevent user or even warn the user about that field being immutable. That's what I'm kind of concerned about.
Yeah, so we have some plans to do that in future. It's something that we could do with a webhook, for example. There has been a EP for a long time to add immutability support natively to Kubernetes for CRDs to mark fields as immutable. I think Muvaf mentioned that has landed, but doesn't do quite exactly what we want to do. But either way, we already have plenty of fields that we say are immutable that aren't actually immutable. If you go change them, just nothing happens. That's kind of unfortunate, but it's the reality of what CRDs support at the moment. So I would feel okay doing that for this field, just marking it immutable, and then at some magical point in the future when we have these webhooks, we'll be able to actually enforce that.
Yeah, sounds good. And what do you think about this secret store CSI driver? Because I think people in the first issue, like the major issue which was linked to this, did mention about not having Kubernetes secrets at all, like data stored in Kubernetes secrets at all.
That's a good question, and I would like to have an opinion on it, but I think I'll need to go and look at this out of band. Sorry, I know you've been working on this for a while, but I haven't paid much attention to it. So I will have a bit of a read of this today and weigh in. I'm looking at it now.
Sure.
And Harsh, was there an original issue for this as well too?
Yep. I think it's kind of like, so the other PR, yeah, this PR
here, this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this reference is to another. Okay, this link.
It's issues all the way down.
Yeah, and this one did mention about not having secrets, and I think the CSI driver, the secret CSI driver, is relatively new and was not mentioned here. So I think we can rethink the design a bit on this one.
Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, awesome.
So as for the core secrets manager API, I think that's fine. It's the Kubernetes secret reference that needs to a bit thought about.
Yeah, in terms of like the user experience or like what, how we want to integrate it, like all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, this is a really dumb question, but I'm Googling all of this right now. So in both cases, the Secrets Manager API exposed by the cloud is just different from Kubernetes secrets, right? It's just general secret stuff, right?
Yep. So the Secret Manager API of Google is kind of weird. Like that's the reason we had to have like 2 CRDs just to implement that. Like there's the secrets actual secrets CRD, and then there's a secret version CRD, which actually has the secret version can actually have the data, not the upper secret CRD itself. Yeah.
Got it. Cool. Okay, cool. So so it sounds like then that the similar to what was already added for AWS, this PR here to add GCP's flavor of support for it is makes a lot of sense to kind of parallel or mirror the functionality that was added for AWS. And then we'll need to think and discuss a little bit more on how to integrate this aspect. Cool. All right. Any other things, Harsh, on that topic there?
No.
Did you also add this topic, Harsh?
Yep. So like I realized that a Terraform state might not be might not be up to date with the actual infrastructure, but I think this might provide value if someone wants to migrate from Terraform to Crossplane. because in some cases, like just providing the name might not be enough, and there could be a lot of Terraform resources. But also, like, there's the issue that we might not, Crossplane might not have all the CIDs for it available already.
Yeah, there's a fairly old or long-standing issue on Crossplane/Crossplane that started as we should support importing resources from Terraform, and then I think we kind of just broadened it out to, well, why focus on Terraform specifically? You should just be able to point Crossplane at a resource running in the cloud and be like, go import that and have it write things out, because that way even folks who aren't using Terraform, Terraform state is just kind of a mapping to stuff that runs in the cloud, so we can just go ask the cloud and have it maybe output at the YAML of a resource, or even just connect to Crossplane and create it there. So obviously at the moment we can, well, not obviously, but many of us may know that you can import a resource into Crossplane at the moment by setting the external name annotation. But the shortcoming is that you have to write the spec of that resource to match how it is in the cloud, or Crossplane's going to go change it. It doesn't automatically infer the spec. So I think this is a feature that we want in Crossplane. It is just a relatively laborious thing to build, or to, maybe code generation could help here. But the thing is that the same way that Crossplane today takes a Kubernetes description of a resource and goes and makes a cloud resource, and we've done that for hundreds of different kinds of resources, and we're all out there building them. Like, solving this problem of just Crossplane can import stuff is just inverting that, basically. So it's it's almost as laborious as just building managed resources in the first place to go and do the opposite of it. So it could be that it could be, again, that this is something that CodeGen can solve, and that we can mostly automate some of this. But apart from that, I think we could establish some patterns here or something like that. But it does kind of seem like it's not like someone's going to go and work on this for a week or two, and then we're going to have a cloud resource importer sort of thing. It's going to be a long journey to get that for all resources.
Okay. I thought that, like, someone who has already has all their infrastructure in Terraform might find this valuable, and if it's of something of interest, then I can try to take it up as my next item.
Yeah, well, I think I can at least link you to the issue. I think it's worth discussion on whether we would specifically want to target Terraform in this case, or what the value would be of sort of target, like if you think of it as just a Go struct, for example, what is the benefit of a Go struct that represents Terraform state being imported to a Crossplane Go struct versus a Go struct from GCP SDK? If it's just as hard to do both, I would target GCP SDK just because it's more broadly applicable to more people. But definitely this is a feature we want. I just think it's going to be challenging. So if you're keen to work on it and start thinking on it, I know that MoveUp has some thoughts here as well. So maybe at some point in the future you two could chat about it and see if there's an approach that could work.
Cool. Okay, so that was everything in the optional section as well too. So last call for any other items that folks want to bring up, and otherwise we can adjourn.
I did see, is John? I guess John left. There was a comment in chat about the status of OAM support.
Oh, the comment in chat. Oh shoot.
Yeah, but John Sharma, who left it, doesn't seem to be on the call anymore.
Well, see if we can find him on Slack, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. Oh, sorry for missing that in the chat. All right. So yeah, so we can go ahead and adjourn, and we'll be back at this same time slot, same day, 2 weeks from now. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Yeah.